Hello everyone. For some I know and some I don't, so it's good to get to know. But I'm looking at this, Carly, and it says, what is ISMA PNG doing? That's on the agenda. Oh, is it? Oh, well, I was going to say, we're not the ones, I think it's you as ISMA PNG are the ones that to tell us what ISMA PNG are doing, and then we all have a part to play in that. But Carly and I have been invited to kind of, share a little bit. And in our hurried moment of saying, what do we do? I landed the place of sharing a little bit of my story. And when I kind of think, I get here and think, who am I to be sharing my story? And yet I guess, we're all the same in terms of our story is what enriches us, and in sharing our story, hopefully it touches others and draws us beyond where we are now. So I'll take a little bit of time to share my story and then I'll hand over to Carly. But before being Sister of Mercy, I was on a dairy farm. Grew up in a large Catholic family down in Western Victoria. We used the land as a way of, milking cows, getting money to bring up a family. And that's how we related to the earth. We as family, but we as humans were kind of in charge of the earth. And in a way, Dad was, we thought, other than we depended on the rain. And we prayed for rain or we prayed for sun. It depended what was needed in terms of enriching the land to feed the cows, to then milk, to provide us with what we needed. I loved it, and it was what I knew, and it's what I invested in. As a family, we all contributed to life on the land. You'd get up in the morning, you'd either feed calves or you'd milk cows. You'd come inside, you'd get ready for school, and go off to school, come home, and follow a similar ritual. In between times, you were outside playing with each other or doing what you did when it was wet or raining or the sun was shining. But it was what I knew, and it was what enriched me as a child, I suppose, and probably what I bring to now, only that as I moved away from that, of course I had to move away because it was the boys' job to do the farming. It wasn't the girls' job. Not that I ever thought of being a farmer, but it wasn't an option either because it was the world of the boys' land on the farm. So from there, I moved away, established my own life. And that was travelling along. And then, at some point, work was really bumpy. Communities I was living in, they weren't feeling right. It wasn't cutting it for me. And I began to say, what's this all about? Where's this God stuff? What's this Jesus thing all about? It was a real void. For how long? I don't know. But a long time. In that time, though, to sustain me, I'd get up in the morning and go for a walk and look at what was happening around. And one morning at the back door of where I was living, there was a weed that had a bud on it. And for some reason, the bud captured my attention. And I looked at it, but went on with the day. But each morning, I kept looking at it. And I'd come home from work at night. Somehow it had drawn me in. And gradually I watched this bud of a weed coming into bloom. A beautiful yellow flower, and I don't know what sort of weed it was. And I wondered then, why are we calling it a weed? To me it was magnificent. And I was trapped at, what do we call weeds? And what do we call beauty? But this was beauty for me. From there, in that search and struggle, I began to value light and dark, sun and light again, and watch this little flower, close up at night and open up in the morning. In my wondering of what life was kind of meaning for me, I began to meet other people, primarily religious from other religious congregations, and many were on a similar search of what's this all about? How are we now? This is what we grew up in, with a certain understanding of our relationship with God and Catholicism. And here we were being drawn and moved into something else that was challenging our relationship with Earth, with the universe, and drawing us into something more. Fortunate for those people, they sustained me during that search, and they had much more to add and to kind of challenge and kind of nourish me with, I suppose. From that time, of course, that small group moved into the wider community, and much happened in terms of how I made sense of this little weed coming into life, and me establishing and developing a relationship with my Creator, which some of us would call Mother Earth, which some of us would call a loving, merciful God. But in that time, I was certainly taken care of, and it was the people I was with that nurtured me and that I networked with that brought me to another place and still nourish me to bring me to this place today. So that's a little bit of my story. So thank you.